toenails and blistered heels, salt stains streaking down my face. Sun is beating, muscles scream, but I'm moving at my pace. Run the riot! Leave the world behind! Run the riot! You free your body and your mind!
Hey there, my friends. Welcome to another Midweek Motivation from the Run the Riot Podcast. I know what you're thinking, like another Midweek Motivation. Yeah, man, I've been having fun getting back to it. Some of you asked for it. Now you're getting a bunch. But fret not, we'll also get back to interviews. I've got a couple lined up in the next week or so. Some really good ones. Some that I think are going to be really fun to talk to. You're gonna have a good time listening. So we'll be getting back to that. But in the meantime, we're exploring all these mindset things, all these things that we need to just motivate ourselves and get our head straight as we're running. Today, I've just got another one for you that's on my mind. So many of you can relate. You ever remember lining up at maybe your first ultra or maybe your first bunch of ultras? Well, for me, it was the first bunch of them. You know, I'm lining up there and I'm looking around and I'm seeing we're doing these things. We're trying to figure out what we're doing. You know, some of us just figuring it out as we go along. We're not even sure. We prepare as much as possible, but we don't even know what we don't know. And then we're looking around and I just remember at so many of them seeing these people who they look confident. They look like they got it all together. They know exactly what to do with their gear. They have a plan laid out. And you know, those first few especially, I'm just like, dude, I've done all I think I know what to do. And I remember even running and asking questions as we go, but we got to be careful that I would compare myself to others. You know, I would look at their gear. Like, oh man, they got some really nice stuff. I'd look at their fitness like, dude, that guy looks super fit. That girl looks super fit, whatever. And you know, we'd look at the ultra sign up before and you see these people who've run all these races and then you see them and you're like, oh man, this is wild. And I can remember just like having to kind of reset my brain because like, I'm like, all right, it's not about them. You know, that comparison could have ruined my race before it ever started because I'm worried about everybody else instead of worried about my race. So how often do you catch yourself comparing not even at a race, but just your journey to someone else's, whether it's running or just life in general? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the comparison trap and, you know, why it's so easy to fall into, how it holds you back, and then what you can do to stay focused on running your own race. We're not called to run everybody else's race. We're called to run our own race. So why do we fall into this comparison trap? Well, I think it's human nature. I think it's human nature. You know, our brains are wired to compare. It's kind of how we assess where we stand. You know, when you just like, where do I fall in this? We just kind of default to that. We want to know. And, you know, a big example on, you know, social media. Social media used to not be a thing, but dude, it is a thing now. And what we're looking at is everybody else's highlight reel. And we forget that, listen, everybody struggles behind the scenes. I hope, you know, I don't post a whole lot anymore. I post, but man, I hope I do a pretty good job of even sharing the struggles, even on the podcast, you know, when I DNF or whatever, I try to just share the good, the bad, and the ugly, celebrate the good times and celebrate the positive achievements, but also let's acknowledge when things don't go our way, you know. So I try to give a balanced approach, but listen, a lot of people, they're posting their highlight reels. And we have to remember that there are struggles behind the scenes, because if we compare our reality with someone else's highlight reel, that can put us in a funky place. Theodore Roosevelt said, comparison is the thief of joy. And like, man, it'll steal our joy. And so we fall into that. It's human nature. And then we focus on other people instead of focusing, you know, on ourselves when we do that. When we spend too much time and energy on what everybody else is doing, we lose sight of our own progress, our own journey. It's like, you know, constantly looking at the runner next to you when you're running instead of focusing on your own pace. You know, it's one of the things when I talk to my runners, I'm like, you've got to run your race. It's your race to run. And so you can run with other people and it's a good thing. Like part of what we do is it's a community thing and you want to visit and you want to get to know people. I love that about everything. But also you got to run your pace. And if they're running faster than you need to be running, than the plan is, and you're pushing too hard too soon, well, you've got to back off. You got to run your race. You're not trying to compete against them right now. You're running your race. And then sometimes, man, some people are just negative. And I mean, I hate to say that, but there've been people that are just, I've run with, and I'm like, oh man, they're so negative. And I try to pull them up, like I really do. But if after a while, I'm just like, I'm going to have to speed up or slow down or something, because I'm struggling too. And I don't need that negative energy taking me down or something. So anyway, we've got to run our own race. So we need to focus on what we need to do. We want to lift each other up and everything else, but not comparing ourselves to other and putting ourselves down because of where our ability is at the time. So let's talk. So it happens. It's human nature. We just do it by default. And so why is it bad? Like, I want to talk a little bit about how comparing yourself to others, comparison holds you back. Well, first of all, man, it'll steal your joy. It can make you feel like that awesome thing that you did is not enough. And man, everybody's journey is different. And so like you might go out and run a PR and you're all excited, but then you start comparing it to others, to someone faster, and then you feel like it doesn't count. Listen, I've run some pretty fast marathons for me, or when you look at the average, but dude, it is nothing compared to what like a lot of people can run, my marathon PRs are a 3:03 and change. And I always wanted to break 3, and I didn't do it. Maybe one day I'll have to be soon because I'm getting old, but I'll try to do it. But I remember I was so excited. And then there was the temptation to be like, man, how many, to not celebrate that all that much, because people run 250s all the time. There are some people who just go out and crush it all the time. But that was great for me. And so I had to focus and celebrate on how great that accomplishment was for me. I still like that, there's a drive to do better, but it's to be better than I was before, and better, the best that I can be in the situation I'm in with my older age and my knee and everything else, And so anyway, it can steal our joy if we're comparing with everybody else. They might not be in the same place and on the same journey that you are. They might not have they might have been an athlete all their life, whereas you started later in life with this running thing, And so your journey is your journey. Like be proud at those things that you accomplish as you move. Don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. I think John Acuff said that. Don't compare, like your journey just starting. Don't compare that to where somebody's been doing this for a long time. And so it can steal your joy. Comparison can also create some like unrealistic expectations. If like you're comparing your full journey to someone else's highlight reel, like we talked about earlier, you might see somebody crushing a 100-mile race, but you don't know they've been doing this for a decade, or this is kind of what they do full time, or, Jennifer always thinks like when I talk about, when I ran Western States, and man, I was so, I was proud of my time at 22 and change, 22 hours and change. I did a sub 24. I was so excited. And I remember talking to her. That was when Walmsley just crushed it at 14 hours and change. And I was talking about that. She said, yeah, but he does that full time. And I was like, look, I'm not putting down my accomplishment. I am proud of what I did. I'm a older guy. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I have a full-time job. Like, I'm proud of what I did. So don't think I'm comparing myself to him. I just think it's amazing that human beings can do that thing. I was just in awe of him. But if we're not careful, we can start comparing ourselves to others, and that's, it's not a healthy thing. And it creates unrealistic expectations. Like, okay, I'm going to go and try to do that. Okay, I don't think I'm going to run Western States in 14 hours and change. It's just not going to happen. Let's just be realistic. And so the other thing it does is it distracts you. It can distract us from our own progress. Every time we spend focusing on somebody else's achievements, it's a moment not spent on our growth and what we can do to be better, and on our accomplishments as we go. If we're in a race and we're constantly looking back to see where others are, we're going to trip. We're going to fall down. You can't run your best if you keep looking backwards, man. It's kind of like, in the Bible, it says any man who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is not worthy. Well, because you're going to be plowing all crooked and stuff, and you can't do your best if you keep looking back. And so just focus on running your race, focus on moving ahead. And, sometimes we just have to not worry about what everybody else is doing. And it's not good mentally for us. Well, speaking of mentally, speaking of our mental, our thought processes and everything, I want to talk to you really quickly about mental wealth. Mental wealth is about investing in habits that build your resilience for future challenges, whether that be running challenges or life challenges. It's creating a mental savings account that you can withdraw from when life gets tough. All right. So there are 5 pillars to this thing. There's sleep. We got to sleep, man. We got to rest. There's diet. There's exercise. There's stress management. And there are things we can take to help us with that. So I want to talk to you really quickly about an awesome product. It's called Magic Mind. Magic Mind supports all these pillars without overpromising. It's just a tool to enhance your focus and to improve your sleep as part of a bigger strategy. The tools are the little things that help move you in the right direction. So what I want to talk to you today about real quick, there are these shots. If you're watching the video on YouTube, by the way, we're on YouTube, so check it out. You can see I'm holding up these 2 things. One of these is for sleep and the other is for mental focus. I use both of these. They are fantastic. I use the focus shots in the afternoon after I eat lunch. And it's all natural products. It's amazing. And it doesn't give you all this caffeine crash or anything like that. In fact, it's not against caffeine. You can take it with coffee, while you drink your coffee or whatever. It's great, but it helps me focus in the afternoon. It gives me that little extra because after lunch, I get sleepy. So it helps me. And then the sleep shot is amazing. At night, I just get this deeper sleep. I wake up feeling so much more rested. And man, we need that rest as ultra runners. And I wake up at 4:00 in the morning. So I need all the good rest I can get. And so for the first time, they're offering a 24 hours pack. It's the focus shots and the sleep shots, and they're bundled together. And listen, if you act, I think it's just in January, it's 45% off. If you go to www.magicmind.com/RTRJAN, that RTR is for Run the Riot, JAN, you can get 45% off. And so I want you to, just take control of your, we're always talking about just being mentally strong. And that's what these midweek motivations are about. This is just another tool that you can put in your toolkit. There's no better time to start than now. Make 2025 the year you build some mental resilience. So get 45% off, www.magicmind.com/RTRJAN. And hey, let me know when you try it out. I want to know what you think about it. So, all right, so let's get back to this comparison trap. So we know it's not good. It steals your joy. We just fall into it. It steals our joy. Well, how do we avoid that? How are we going to avoid that? It's a problem and it's not good. So how do we avoid it? We need to talk about that. So, we talk about why all the time, but we need to stay focused on our reason for running. Remember why you started running in the first place. Why did you start chasing these goals? Your journey is unique to you. You're not running everybody else's race. You're running yours. And I'm not talking about individual, like a race. I'm talking about running the race of life. There's a reason you started this. Now, maybe it's to be the best version of yourself, to see how far you can go. Listen, some of you, man, and I've had so many on the podcast, some of you, it's been a weight loss journey. It's been a get healthy journey where some of you have had some real, just a gut check. Like, man, I've got to do something about my health. And this running gave you an avenue. For some people, it's, they were addicted to drugs or addicted to different things, and they kind of got addicted to running, but it was something that gave them an outlet. Maybe that's you. And so you got to remember why you started and focus on that. When you know the reason you're doing it, the how becomes easier. When you stay focused on all that. So you got to just stay focused. Why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I'm just trying to beat that guy? And listen, a little, you've heard me before. A little healthy competition is fine. There's nothing wrong with a little healthy competition, but that can't overshadow everything, and that can't be the all in all. And you can't, you got to remember the why that you're doing it. And, I've been focusing on that quite a bit lately. I joke around a lot about getting older, and it's like, different things. I can't do the things that I did in 2018 and 19 and 17 when I was just having killer years. And so things are just not as good in my knee and everything else. And I hate to use that as an excuse all the time, but it's just a fact of life, man. And so I'm just trying to, in the state that I am right now, I'm trying to continue to do the best that I can and continue to run as much as I can and be the best David Terrio that I can be right now. And so maybe that's you. Maybe it is competing for you, and that's fine. But you can't always be comparing. And then you have to celebrate your progress, man. Compare yourself only to who you were yesterday. Just compare yourself to who you are. Am I getting better? Maybe your goal is to get faster in certain races. Am I getting faster? And that's a good drive, to try to be better than you were yesterday. And if you've improved your time, your distance, if you've gotten more endurance, you've gotten in better shape, you've lost the healthy weight that you want to lose, you look better, you're able to do things even outside of running because of you taking control of your health. Or even if that you just showed up consistently. Listen, all that's worth celebrating, man. If you're becoming a better human with the things that you're doing, dude, celebrate that junk. Get excited about that junk and then go and keep doing more so you can celebrate more tomorrow and the next day because you showed up and done the thing. Man, that's why I love, listen, I joke around a lot about Strava. I did a post this week, about, I track all my stuff on Strava. And like, if it's not on Strava, did it really happen? It's a joke. All right. But I love looking back and seeing, man, I've done some things, and I'm still doing some things. And, you can't see it right here. I have my buckles that are up here and on the wall. And it's like, yeah, I did some things and I'm still doing some things and I can celebrate all those milestones and then look forward to future ones. So track your progress, man. And listen, some people don't like having their buckles or their medals up or whatever. I like them because it's just reminders of what God's enabled me to do and what I've been able to do with my body and the potential that I've mined out of it. And it's just a positive thing. You got to be careful. Don't get prideful or anything like that. Like whatever, but it's okay to acknowledge the things that you've done and to celebrate them. And so track that progress. And dude, you're going to hear me say it again. So just practice gratitude, thank God for that you are where you are, don't think about what you lack. Like, oh, I can't run fast, or, hey, I can't run far right now, or, hey, my toe hurts, or whatever. Think about what you have. Be thankful that you have the ability to run no matter what the pace or what the distance. Listen, there might be one day when I can't run. But today is not that day. So I am grateful that I can run. I'm grateful, man. Yesterday, listen, I did a 50K on the treadmill. Yeah, it was mentally a booger, but I did it. All right. It was Kung Fu Day. I was watching the Kung Fu movies that Jennifer didn't want to watch with me. I watched them while I ran 50K on the treadmill because she don't like reading having to read because it's not dubbed. Anyway, so I was so thankful for that. And I did it. And you know what? My knee did well. I felt it a little bit, but it wasn't bad. And I'm like, yes, thank God. And I celebrated that. And I had gratitude. And then I ran again this morning. And so, gratitude turns what we have into enough. So guys, be thankful for where you are. Be thankful for what you can do. Be thankful you got out of bed this morning. Be thankful for all the runs that you're able to do, for the workouts you're able to put in. And then listen, here's the other thing. Practice gratitude, but also, man, sometimes you just have to limit social media. If you notice that when you're scrolling through social media that you maybe feel inadequate or something, dude, set boundaries. Social media, you should use it to inspire, not to compare. Follow accounts that uplift you, not people that make you feel less than what you are. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to limit that. Sometimes you don't have to unfriend people. Maybe you just have to hide their things. And I posted recently about, you don't have to post every workout on there and things like that, because I just don't do that. But if anybody wants to see what I'm doing, they can go to Strava, and I got all my workouts are on Strava. And so social media, I post some accomplishments and some races and things like that, but I don't have to post every time I do a curl or something, But listen, these are lessons, these running lessons, these midweek motivations. They're for us in running, but they're also in life. In life, your path is not someone else's path. We should be focusing on improving ourselves instead of worrying about somebody else's promotion, all that jealousy or anything like that will kill you. Sunday school, I taught Sunday school this morning, and we were in Psalm 24, and it talks about having a good life. And I think we all want a good life. We can't have a good life if we're always comparing ourselves to others. We need to focus on the main things, keep the main thing, and I need to try to make me a better human and try to lift others up instead of this comparison thing all the time. And like, well, because listen, and it can be dangerous in two ways. Number one, I'm not as good as them. Well, if you're not as good as them, then just, um, focus on what you can do to be better. Don't be negative. Don't be bitter in life. If you say, well, I'm good, I'm better than them, well, then you can get satisfied with where you are. And we should always have we should be content with where we are, but have a healthy discontent and just want to get better, always to be better. And so in work, we should always just work to be better. And when we look to others, not worry about what they have or anything like that. Listen, you can have a good life and have not near what other people's have monetarily or position wise. It's about being content with where you are and what you're doing. And so, growth, it's not a competition. You're not racing in life. You're not racing against anyone else. You're becoming the best version of yourself. You're trying to be better than you were yesterday. So Jennifer and I have this thing where I'll tell her, or she tells me I love you, and I'll say I love you more, or vice versa. We always do that. I love you more. And she goes, it's not a competition. Or if I say it's not a competition, she goes, everything's a competition. And it's just a joke we have, but sometimes we can think about our life like that. Like we always worried about everybody else instead of, you know what? They got all this money and that's their path, or they got all these things. They're doing that's their path. What can I do to make my path better? Focus on my path, And so just to kind of conclude and wrap all this up, comparison's natural, but it doesn't have to control you. Focus on your progress, stay grateful for your journey, and run your own race. Your race is special. Your race is important. And God has you on a path for a reason. And so continue to seek that path and be the best you that God's created you to be. And so take a minute this week and celebrate your progress. Like look at where you are now. Look at how far you've come, whether it's running, whether it's work or life or whatever. And I want to encourage you to write it down and let it remind you of how far you've come. Now, one last quote. The only person you should try to be better than is the person you were yesterday. And so, hey, tomorrow, be better than you are today. I hope that gave you some stuff to chew on, guys. I hope to see some of you at some races soon. If you're around the Tulsa area, there's Midnight Madness that's going to be coming up in the summer. They're bringing it back. It's where I have my PR for 50 mile. It's a hot and humid one, and it's at night. It starts at midnight, so look that up. That's going to be a fantastic race. I'm probably going to be going back to Prairie Spirit in March. That is an Outlaw 100 race. That's where I have my PR in a 100-miler. I don't anticipate PRing it, but I'm going to go out there and give it my best shot. It's what I'm training for now. It's going to be fantastic. And I think Jennifer and I are going to go to the Little Rock Marathon, and the theme is Laissez les bon temps cool. I think it's not let the good times roll. It's laissez les bon temps cool. Let the good times run. And so it's going to be Mardi Gras. So who knows what Jennifer's going to have me wearing. We're going to be wearing some crazy stuff because we do that for the marathon. So anyway, I hope to see some of you guys at some of these races. And then I'm looking for some fun stuff during the summer. I'd like to get to the mountains during the summer. So we'll see what happens there. Guys, I hope you're doing well. I hope you got your race schedule planned out. Hope you're training hard, firing on all cylinders. And I hope life is good. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.